I'm Susie. That was a weird introduction. Welcome. Welcome to Leaders with Leverage. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm going to talk today about this analogy that my friend Annette, so we'll see if she listens, had mentioned to me in passing, and I just love it. I've been thinking a lot about it, and I've talked to people about it, and it's really landed for people because it was a great visual around leadership. And I want you to think about this as it relates to your leadership. So it all has to do with an elephant in a safari. And when you think about this, envision this, this wide open, beautiful space of mountainous, and it's, miles and miles. And you're responsible for all of this land. And it's to keep it healthy from the crops and the vegetation, but also the wildlife that lives in that area, and even the insects. I don't really like insects, but they're a part of the ecosystem. But when you think about a department being responsible for like this big the piece of land, um, that's the analogy I want to use. And so as an individual contributor, you get a job, and we'll just say it's, to pick these crops in this one little section. So you're not really sure what you're doing, but you learn, somebody teaches you, this is how you pull the branches apart, and you pull this out, and this is how these are weeds, and this is what this is what stays that you don't pull. And so being an individual contributor is just taking your little section and really honing doing it well. And every day you get a little faster, and people don't have to give you as much guidance anymore. So you feel like you're really successful when you can just show up and do your thing. And your influence is up. Your influence is to the person above you, because that's the person that cares the most about what you're getting done. So the better you are, the better you work, and whether it's speed or quality or whatever it is, the person that you work for really appreciates that. So your influence with them goes up. And so what happens when your influence goes up is they give you people or more responsibility. So the next section of that area that you're responsible for is a little closer to the elephant. You're responsible for a couple of those frontline employees that were you just a few months ago. So you're closer. You can kind of hear the guidance from leadership because you're closer to the elephant, and you're looking out. You're kind of watching them. You're going to those individual contributors if they're new, to show them how to the pull or what they need to do in their area that they're responsible for. You keep them safe. You can see beyond because you're closer. You're kind of not always looking down. You're looking out at them, so you can warn them if there's something that's coming up that can affect their role. And then what happens from there is you get promoted. And if you can just picture, now there's a rope hanging down off the elephant, and you're kind of holding on so that you can have a higher perspective. And now you're responsible for all those different people that used to be the individual contributor and then the supervisor, let's just say. And now you're in the manager, mid-manager area, and you're holding on to the elephant. And now you can see a little bit further. So you can see the other elephant really, really far away. You can see the other departments and their impact that you have. And you might be able to hear the leader that's on top of the elephant talking to somebody that's in a different department. So your perspective continues to grow from what you can see visually, of what's going on in your department. You can hear your leader because you're right there, and they're talking directly to you, telling you what you need to know. And sometimes you have to make the choice to jump off the elephant and help somebody. But your challenge is staying up on the elephant and figuring out how to articulate what you need to verbally, and how do you give guidance in a way that's not telling them what to do, but giving them enough information so they learn on their own. And that's a tough place to be. And you have to really think about staying on the elephant. And then as you get as to be an executive, it's like being on the back of that elephant. And now you can see the whole horizon. You can see that there's people working the individual contributors, like you can see them, but you're so far away, you can't really see exactly the details they're doing. You can hear kind of some of the things that are going on closer to where your proximity, so you kind of understand what's happening culturally. You can definitely hear like you're on the headset with all of your boss and your peers who are also on their elephants in their different departments, and you can clearly see the landscape, and you can tell your people, that person that's holding on to the rope, the things that they need to know to tell their people. But you have to decide what's important to them, what will make them better at what they're doing. And gosh, if you're at that executive role, you better not jump off that elephant. It's a higher risk. But you know what's funny is it's a great analogy, and people will like totally agree to it and say, that is so right. And staying on the elephant is the thing that you need to do as an executive. But I'll tell you, just last week, I was talking to an executive who said very proudly, every time there's an escalation, I am the first on the phone. And I tell my people, don't worry about it. I got this, because I know more than anybody else. And I'm faster than anybody else. I think so much faster. Oh, it's so easy for us to jump off the elephant and just go back and do what came really easy for us, even satisfying to us. But we have to be careful. How does that make that person feel that's holding on to the elephant, that's working so hard at holding on themselves? And this leader just jumps off to kind of fulfill their own satisfaction that they're able to jump in. So leadership's really hard. And I also think that leadership is the role that you're in. And the company definitely tells you exactly how you need to lead, or you know exactly what you're responsible for. I'll say it that way. They don't tell you how to lead, but they tell you what you're responsible for. And you need to motivate people. But leadership goes beyond that, because when you become an executive, those people that are on the teams with the other elephants, they can still see you. When they go on breaks, they talk about your effectiveness. They talk about you. So your influence goes beyond the earshot of the people that work for you. So you have a responsibility to more than just your team. And I see so many leaders just get so in their lane because they get so good at what they do, whether they're running an area of the business that is really technology focused, and they're a technologist, and they've come up the ranks because of their knowledge and expertise, and they've been great leaders in motivating people because they're motivating people that are similar to them from a technology and mindset and being geared that way. But it goes beyond that, because once you get to that point in your career, leadership is a choice to stay up on the elephant. Don't take credit and don't get the adrenaline from jumping off and doing it yourself. Letting the other people get that satisfaction and watching them succeed, or watching how they're doing it and being like, wow, that was not the way I would have done it, but interesting. Staying up on the elephant and being quiet. I remember my coach told me early in my career that you can tell people who are wise, they're the quiet ones in the room. They're the people that are just observing because they don't feel like they have anything to prove anymore. And I really think that that is something that it doesn't just come naturally. I mean, maybe after many years, you're like, it doesn't matter anymore. But I think that that's something that we should consider as leaders is, how do we shut up a little bit more, listen a lot more? I think that we believe we listen a lot more than we really do. Don't forget, that's 70% of the time you should be listening. 30% of the time you should be talking. So you think about being on that elephant and you're just looking out and spending time, because those executives should be thinking strategy, should be looking out, Shouldn't be worrying at looking down. Should be trusting the people that are right on the elephant, right there, and really cheering on and giving encouragement to all of them, but being really mindful of the guidance that they give, not telling them what to do, but really coaching them so that they can become self-sufficient, so that they can make their way to that top place as well. Make a seat for them. That's what your job is. I just love that. Thank you, Annette. She is brilliant entrepreneur that runs a big company. And I just love that analogy so much because I can just see it. And I think it's great language if you share that story with your team so that you can say, did you just jump off the elephant? Should you have? Was that the right decision? Or should I stay on the elephant? Because I'll tell you, when the heat happens, that's when you have to go, okay, what's going on? This is stressful. I got to figure this out. I need to stay up on the elephant. And that's super hard to do when the crap hits the fan. It is so hard to not just jump off that elephant and just quickly do what you need to do to get everything set again. But that is not the long game. That's the short game. Let me know how you use this analogy, how it lives in real life when people are talking about staying on the elephant, hanging on to the side. And just remember, it's all about being able to see the horizon, deciding what you need to tell the team, how to frame it to them, and just being encouraging so that they can become the next leader that has the ability to have that challenge as well. Thanks so much for being here. I'm just thrilled that I'm in your ear today, and I hope this was helpful to you. I think it's really important for us to take time, take space to consider different ways of taking a message like this and seeing how it applies in our everyday. I'd love to hear from you. I'm on LinkedIn. I'd love for you to reach out to me. That'd be amazing. If you want to join my newsletter, go to my website, susietomachek.com, and sign up. I send something every Monday, and it's really just kind of what's on my heart. So thanks for being here. Share this podcast if you think somebody needs to hear it, somebody that needs to think about the elephant, and let me know how you use it in the language in your day-to-day. This has been Leaders with Leverage. I appreciate you being here. And don't forget, when you use negotiation every day, it increases your confidence, which helps you understand your value, and it allows you to raise your hand so you can opt in and advocate for yourself. So go negotiate.